So, my name is Erica J. Pierce, and I'm a growth mindset life coach. I teach people who struggle with poor mindset, clarity, people who have struggles with discipline. I teach them tools that's going to help them to become more self-empowered action takers. How did I get into this? I really noticed that a lot of times people know what they want in life. They have a goal. They sometimes know what they want, but they don't necessarily know how to get from point A to point B. I've seen people who know what they want, but they may not have the emotional or mental clarity to get to what they want, or they may know what they want and they just don't necessarily, I don't know. It's like they don't know exactly how to, they intellectualize what they need to do. They know exactly what they need to do, but it's just something about getting from this point to this point that keeps them from getting there, and they create their own self-imposed obstacles. They haven't really necessarily learned how to integrate what they know into something that's going to actually make some moves for them. So that's where I come in as a life coach. What I noticed during, I guess, COVID, and the great resignation is what they call it. A lot of people decided that they wanted to start businesses, and which is cool. There are a lot of gurus and social media experts that would come on and teach people that the ins and outs of how to start a business. They would teach them how to trade, how to real estate, how to flip houses, how to do whatever you name, whatever you can think of. But they never really talked about what kind of person you have to become in order to reach that success. So I started thinking, I have some tricks up my sleeve, and maybe I should create a space for business owners, a place where we can talk and hash out, the things that we've learned, the things that we struggle with, the things that, we may have learned about ourselves, our wins, our losses, and everything in between. So I decided to come up with this platform. Let's get down to business is what I call it, and create a space for us to talk about it and bounce things off of one another. I mean, I could have easily, met up with my friends at a coffee shop and just kind of talk, but I felt like, why not put this on a platform where people can listen in as well, ask questions, chime in, and, just kind of see where it goes. So without further ado, let me go ahead and stop talking and get into what we're doing tonight. So tonight I have a special guest. This is our first week, and we'll be doing this every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I'm going to talk to different business owners. And tonight I am very excited to have my first guest. Her name is Lindsay Graham, and she is the owner of the Wesley James Company. And I want to make sure I do this right, so let me not mess it up. So she specializes in handcrafted jewelry. And she makes them with various mediums. And one of the really cool things that I love is her hats that she makes. The fire burns. She literally hand sketches these things with pyrography, I think is what it's called. But I'm going to let her describe all that stuff and explain to you what she does. So let's go ahead and get her on the call. So, Lindsay, did you request me? I see you on here, but I don't see that you invited or you requested to join me. Oh, I'm
Did
Hi,
it.
girl.
Hey, we did it. I was like, oh God, I hope this
We
works.
did it.
This is nerve-wracking. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this because this is just super cool. And
You're
second,
welcome.
hi, I haven't seen you in a long time, like a really
I
long time.
know.
You and I, gosh, I think God, you've probably known me since I was like 15 when we started dancing together. So I've known Erica for a very long time, and we've watched each other just kind of just have all these ebbs and flows in our life and all these
I
really
know.
cool things. And this is so cool. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for giving
Proud
us
of
this
you.
platform. This is so awesome. So hi everyone. I am Lindsay Graham. I guess this is where I do my introduction, right? We're just letting this kind of like flow, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Lindsay Graham, and I'm the owner of Wesley James Company. As Erica said, I specialize in hand burn hats and handcrafted and hand assembled jewelry. So like I'll get the pieces and put them together. I'll find cool stuff like that. And most recently this year in January, and of course this is my favorite hat right now, but I specialize in hand burn hats. So when Erica was telling you about pyrography, basically what I do is I get a really, 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 really hot pen, and I hand draw all of the details onto hats. So that has totally blown up this past year. I didn't think it would really turn into anything. I just, I've always loved to draw. I've always loved to create things. If I'm not being creative, I feel lost. I think Erica and I, I think we're artists is growing up, I mean, just dancing for, 20 plus years. And we have to be creative. We have to be doing something. We're hyper motivated people. And, if we're not creating and moving and grooving and doing something great, I mean, for me, I don't know about you, but I sort of feel inadequate. So
same.
Yeah. And it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse.
It is.
Sure,
I have to be busy.
Yeah. So I started my company December 2020, and I'm so glad you mentioned the pandemic, because I was like, man, we need to talk about that. Like, what kind of paradigm shift happened to us mentally during that time? Because it was such a interesting year. But yeah, I'll be going on 2 years, I think, with this in December. So I'm coming up on my second year anniversary. Yay. I'm like, wow. And, then I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
what's happening?
What am I
doing? Yeah.
So it's been a fun, wild ride for me and for my family too. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So let me ask you, so going back to the pandemic, like, what happened? Like, what made you decide to get into this?
I'll tell you right when it happened. I remember when it happened. And, like you said, everyone was, I mean, I think some people really didn't have a choice. I mean, we were getting laid off. People were just losing business. And I mean, it was such a scary time. And somehow we got through that. But I had my son, Wesley, in December 2020. And I remember, in September 2020. And in December, I remember I was driving him to one of his newborn doctor's appointments, and I was looking at him through the rear view, his cute little self. And I said to myself, I was like, I have to do something greater than what I'm doing. And, I'm very blessed enough to have a job. I have a 9-to-5, in addition to Wesley James Company. But I kept telling myself, speech therapy in the school district is not enough. I want to do something creative, and I want to create a legacy for my child. And I have to do something. I don't know what it is. I just know that I kept saying I have to do something bigger than what I'm doing right now.
Right.
And I don't know, I've always wanted to kind of have my own shop. And I just had this vision of having like a brick and mortar store with my jewelry and accessories, and like I'd serve wine, which is really weird. I don't know why, but
that's a good idea.
Serve wine and hats weren't even in my mind at the time. I just wanted to make some jewelry. So I actually had cricket sales. God, were like huge during the pandemic. They were gigantic. People were buying crickets like crazy because people were trying to make cricket. I don't know if you don't know what a cricket is. It's like the die cutter machine. Arts and crafts, and you can make shirts and mugs, and I mean, the sky's the limit. And I'd bought one, and a lot of my friends had one too, and we were like, well, what can we make? What can we do? And so I decided, I was like, I think I'm gonna make jewelry. And I just started teaching myself. I just started the ground running. I decided I wanted to call it Wesley James Company after my son, obviously. I know it's kind of cliche, but I thought it would be really cool. I started looking, designing a logo. I started doing research on what the best website builders were, what the number one. I wanted top of the line everything. I didn't want to do Shopify. No offense to Shopify, they're great, but I wanted to find a platform that was just beneficial to me and my style and who I am. And and I started running like crazy. And then I announced it on Facebook, and I was like, oh God, like, what did I do?
It's real now.
Yeah. And it was scary. It was really, really scary, because financially too, I mean, you're investing so much. You're investing so much into this, in the products and in and the tiny little pieces that you put together for earrings, the beads, it starts to add up. And
Right.
I'm like, I have a newborn to take care of, and there's just a lot of different logistics that go into it. But you know what? I just kind of pushed everything out, and I tried to stay as focused as I could. And I just made myself a list, an itemized list, and said, do this. And I gave myself goals, and I just started to climb the ladder. Yeah,
Little by little.
Yeah, little by little.
So how did you like come up with because I love your pieces. They're so adorable.
Thank you.
Where'd you find that, like, what was your inspiration and like the way and the choices that you made as far as your creations?
So when I started out, I kept seeing, and I'm a huge Etsy shopper, and people on Etsy are just super creative with the pieces they make, and you have really amazing artists that they're metalsmiths, which is what I would love to be, and they'll create little you call them findings, and I would go try and find the most different brass pieces, or some people harvested sea glass. That's like the centralized thing for my company. I love brass and sea glass, and mixing the two mediums together. I just started kind of mixing things and envisioning different types of colors and what would go together, and also in addition to that, learning about the seasons and how you have to follow the fashion calendar, and so there's a lot of different things that go into that. And I knew I loved the ocean. I knew I loved gold brass plated things that, I don't know, they sort of embody the femininity of women and the strength. And I knew I wanted metal, and I knew I wanted chic and beauty, and so I just started to put those things together. And then as the seasons went on, I found cool little pieces that people made that went with the seasons as well. And I'm kind of going with the flow too, because my tagline is carefree creative designs. Okay, so I don't put too much pressure on myself to be like, okay, I have to do this or I'm a failure.
Yeah.
So if that kind of makes sense. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm organized chaos too. Like, I have a plan, but I don't have a plan. So it's just kind of like wherever the wind blows me is where I'm going to go. So
that's a good point. So it goes into my next question. How do you, so there are a lot of people who make handmade jewelry. How do you like set yourself apart from other people out there, your competitors that do kind of similar things as you?
Right.
Like, what makes you stand out, or what makes you different from the other people that are doing the same thing?
Well, I think one thing I didn't see that I thought was really cool was the usage of brass and sea glass together. Like, you don't really see much of that anywhere. Sea glass, first of all, is harvested on beaches, and a lot of people don't really know about that, but it's basically like recycled bottles. It's bottles that come in that's like it's trash basically. So they flow up on the beach, and they get so broken down rather, excuse me, that they become these really beautiful stones, and you can wrap them in brass wires and different things like that. And I wasn't really seeing much of that. I think that my product, coupled with my personal story and who I was and kind of where I was coming from, and as an artist through dance and trying to help people understand like who I was as a person and why I was creating these things, and being a mom, and kind of tying in my personal story to my store. I think it helped me, rather than just being a oh, hey, here I am, I'm just buy my jewelry, like, open my coat here, buy my, you know what I mean? If you can connect with people in a way that they can relate to, whether they're a mom or just being real, like sitting there having a conversation with you about stuff. I wasn't really trying to do anything different or be anything different other than just being myself, which essentially is different because I am me, right?
So there's no one else out there like you.
That's my selling point. I'm who I am, and this is my story. And I hope, if you want to stick around and listen to it, great. If you don't, well, that's fine too. So, if that answers your questions, again.
No, it does.
Kind of carefree about it, I just was myself, and it's worked. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times I find that people, when they're trying to figure out where they want, direction they want to go into, they're thinking, like, how am I any different? And I can use myself as an example. There are a ton of coaches. I mean, there's coaches everywhere at this point. When I got certified, there were no coaches. Anyway, that's another story. But what can I offer? Why would anyone come to me? What is my brand? And I found that at first I was trying to fit a mold of what I thought I should have been, to what I thought it should look like. And then I realized I am me, and no one's going to do anything, and no one's going to have the same experiences, the same perceptions, the same, they're not going to do it the way I do it. And that's what makes me unique. And that's what makes the next person unique. And people are going to gravitate to what they can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, they're going to find someone that they can relate to, and they're going to go that route. And that's okay as well. There's room for all of us out there.
Right.
So,
right.
But I think as business owners, it's important to make sure you know what's unique about your brand.
Right. And I'm still in self-discovery on that, because I think, you know, there's probably some other business owners out there or marketing coaches, and they're like, well, you need to figure out who you are and what you're selling. You know, you need that thing. You need that recognizable thing. Well, that takes a long time. Okay. I'm sure it didn't. Kendra Scott did not become Kendra Scott overnight. Kendra Scott had like $200 and lived in a little apartment in Austin. And, you know, she created, and every piece of every little tiny dime she made turned around and went right back into that. And that's kind of the process where I am now. And then one day she found her style, and she found out who she was going to be. So right now, I think, you know, specifically with me and my business, I'm trying to find, I'm not trying to find, I'm letting it just happen.
Evolve, yeah.
It will happen. If we sit there and beat the nail into the coffin constantly every day, you know, you twist and you turn something, you make a little money at it, and then you just get burnt out. So that's what I'm trying to just allow whatever to happen. If jewelry goes away and all I am is the person that burns hats and it becomes something great, then that's what it's supposed to be. So, yeah, I think just we have to give ourselves grace. You know, we have to just allow ourselves as business owners to let it become what it's going to become. It's just like a painting, right? It's just like dance. We created all those beautiful pieces and the choreography, and then we kept adding stuff before the show, and then it's a big fat mess, and then we're, you know, nothing. So you have to just let it be what it's going to be. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I love that analogy. Obviously, I can relate to that one.
Yes, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Not necessarily knowing what the big picture is going to be at the end of the day, but you just keep moving, and you keep just letting it evolve to whatever it's going to evolve into.
Right. Exactly.
I think that's, again, going back to authenticity. It's who you are. It's what naturally works for you.
Yeah, I want to sell what I want, and you know, I want to sell what I want when I want to sell it. And that's the beauty of being a business owner, is you can do that. You can take the day off if you want to. You don't have to, you know, do what everybody else is doing. You can do it how you want to do it. That is the beauty of being a business owner. It is your creation. It's a blank canvas, and you paint on it, and you decide what you want to be. You're, like they say, you're the author of your own story. That's what this is. So you can create this, or you can stop when you want to stop. You know, it's not recommended for business. You don't want to lose, you know. Then we start getting into social media marketing and staying, you know, staying present and posting every day. And then it's like all this different stuff. And there's so many logistics to running a business and being on social media. Like, I don't know what you found, but I mean, if you're not present, you are absent. Obviously.
Yeah, people forget very quickly.
Very literally, people will forget about you. And it's so important. I've learned so much about social media marketing and the power that it has right now in business. It's huge. If you don't know how to social media market yourself, like, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard.
So how do you balance make, because I know you're doing this, you're hand making these things, and
Girl.
you've got a family, and you've got a little bit coming. So how do you balance all of that?
Oh man, my husband, he's watching right now. I have a really good family. I'm very blessed to have an incredible support system, and I know that's really cliche, but I do. I have a really wonderful support system, a wonderful family who has supported all of my dreams. Um, I'm, like I said, I'm super hyper motivated, which is a gift and a curse. And,
Mm.
you have to find, and I got into that like earlier this year where I was doing way too much. Because I got into grad school, being a speech pathologist, got into grad school, and I am. I have this 1.5-year-old son, and I have jewelry to make, and now I'm adding hats to the mix, and all these
Mhm.
orders are coming in, and people are like, I want this, and I want that, and I want, you know, there's my son, that I'm thankful I have my mother-in-law, my husband here to help me along, or if I need to do something. But you have to find balance, and you have to find a way to put everything else aside, and you have to make time for your family. And if that means just
Yeah,
you have to pencil it in, you have to
yeah,
take a break. And there were moments where I wasn't doing that, and I was missing out on moments with my son, and I was missing out on moments with my husband. I was missing out on moments with my family. And then you make yourself sick physically
yeah,
because you're working and working and working, and I got to do this, and if I just one more hour, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you have to get up for your 9 to 5 at 6:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever job you're working. And
right.
it was a learning curve, to answer your question. I am still learning that, having to, it's dinner time, Lindsay, put the hat down.
Yeah,
It's time for Wes's bath. Let's get together, and let's, make sure we're keeping that family time cohesive, and time with my husband as well. We're taking a trip, taking a step away, because remember, you are the boss,
you're the
and
boss.
you can stop. You are not, we have to, like, it's a weird thing too, owning your own business and being your own boss in that aspect too, because you feel like you have to, like, report. You don't have to report to anybody. Okay.
Yeah,
You can stop if
yeah,
you want to stop. You can work as much as you want or as little as you want. But yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard to turn it off, because like I said, I'm a hyper motivated person, and it's hard
yeah.
to.
And you want to be there for the people who are supporting you. You want
Yeah, well,
to,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What would you say to someone who is hesitant about starting a business because they do have a 9 to 5, and they may have other things, other priorities, that like a family?
Hmm.
What advice would you give them as far as
You
starting
gotta
their
start.
business?
You just have to start. If it's something you really want to do, okay. My son was maybe 2 months old when I started it, and yeah, I was scared. I was really scared. I was like, you've never done anything like this before. You're not educated. You don't have a business degree. You don't have any kind of degree in that. My degree is in speech therapy. Speech
Mhm.
speech language pathology. And but if you don't start at least with the small things first, think about your logo. You don't have to start creating products yet. You can, make vision boards, start journaling about it, talk to yourself about it, at least put something down on paper. But you have to get started, because if you don't get started, I mean, the window's going to shut.
Yeah,
We're only here for a little while.
they
Okay.
are.
We're only here for a little while. And one thing I can say about myself, and I hope it doesn't come across as braggadocious or anything like that, but everything I've wanted in my life, I've gotten, or I've done. Everything. I
Yeah.
decided, from dancing, being a little kid, I said, I want to dance. I'm going to go dance. And then I danced. I want to be on
You did
TV.
good too. You
I
were a good
did.
one.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and I danced, and I wanted to be on TV. So I went, and I was on TV. We went to, America's Best Dance Crew, and did, had a little stint on television in California. I want to go to New York and dance. Went to New York and dance. I wanted to sing. I sang. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Sister Act 2. It's such a great, great movie. But Whoopi Goldberg says in the movie, she says, if you wake up and you wanna sing, you're supposed to be a singer, girl. You know, if you wake up with all these feelings and these emotions about something and it's sticking in your mind and it's always there, that's something that you're supposed to be doing. That is God
Yeah.
telling you you're supposed to be doing that thing, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. I ended up being in a country band for a year. I wanted to act. So I had a friend that made a movie and he made an independent film and I got to be on the big screen in the theater and watch myself. There are
Yeah.
no limits. There are no
Right.
you know, you're the only one, like they say, you're the only one holding yourself back. So if you want to do something, you can do it. If you want to be somebody, you want to
Hey.
go somewhere, you gotta, right? You gotta wake up and pay attention, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
but that's what it is, though. You know,
I
if you
love
want to
that.
do something, you just have to start, and that is what I did for my business. And if you're out there and you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm just not sure, just start.
Just start.
Yes, I pay attention. I see. It's such a good scene.
Yeah,
Love boat.
definitely.
The girl. Yeah. So, please just start. And I know it sounds corny, follow your dreams and all of that, but it's really not. I mean,
Yeah.
the world really is our oyster, and you should just go for it. Just do
You
it.
never know where taking your first step is going to lead you. I mean, you never know. And I have it on my page. I posted I think it was Raiders of the Lost Ark or something, where Indiana Jones is walking across this like void, and he is just like, let me just take a step. And when he steps his foot out, the ground appears. And then he takes another step and then the ground appears and he eventually makes it across. And as such, like I try to remember that for myself all the time.
Blind
Just
faith, right? Like,
yeah,
just let it be what it's gonna be. And God, I sound like such a hippie right now, but it is though. It's blind faith. You have to just believe that what's being put in your heart every day when you wake up, believe in that. It's something that you're supposed to be doing. Your heart's not gonna lie to you. Your gut doesn't
exactly.
lie. It doesn't. You just gotta go. You just gotta just take the leap, man. Just do it. Do it. And you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Where everything you need will come to you eventually.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I guess let's see, I want to give what where do you want to see this going? Like what mark do you want to leave?
Oh,
Um
Erica, why ask me all these hard questions? Um, what what mark do I want to leave? I want to obviously, excuse me, obviously financial sustainability is something that I would love to have. Do I care to be as big as Kendra Scott? Not really. All the things I've done in my life, I've never wanted to be, famous or anything. I just wanted to do that thing.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I hope that I can, provide something for my son. Hopefully, some kind of funding for him as he grows older for something that he can fall back on, especially considering the economy the way that it is right now. Um, Hopefully inspiring other people to, if this becomes something really great and I can have my brick and mortar shop, it can be a place where people can come in and maybe we can expand it to, I don't know, something greater,
Yeah.
inspiring people to open their businesses. Maybe we can have seminars. Maybe this doesn't just become hats and jewelry. This becomes Lindsay Graham and Erica J. Pierce. And, you need a life coach and you can come here,
Yeah.
it can be a
Yeah.
conglomerate of things. I don't know if that's practical or realistic,
You
but,
know, we dabble in a lot, so it can happen.
I mean, I think being diverse people that are just, full of different ideas, but that's how great things happen. Um, but I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm at where I'm at right now. I feel like I'd be contradicting myself if I were like, it's got to be this, this, and this, right? Because I'm over here like, let it be, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Let it be what it's gonna be, and I just hope that I can make people happy with my pieces.
Hmm.
that they can wear my hats and my jewelry and feel good about themselves wherever they are, which is, that in itself is really cool to see people doing that and writing cool things about this is the greatest thing I've ever owned. And that in itself makes me really happy. So that's what this turns into, that somebody is, even if they're hanging my hat on the wall, they're not even wearing it. It's just a fixture in their home as a decoration. That's good enough for me, that my stuff can, you know, they can look up and smile, and it makes them feel good. So that's enough for me. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Yay, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I know you have blessed some people tonight, myself included. So yeah, tell everybody where they can find you so they can take a look at all your beautiful pieces.
Yeah, so you can find my website. It's www.wesleijamesco.com. And I'm also on Instagram at, I believe I'm under, one of them is I think Instagram is the Wesley James Company. And you can also find me on Facebook. Just a simple search. There's no other, which I'm proud of, there's no other Wesley James Company anywhere in the world that I've seen that, you know, on Instagram. No one's taken my name, so I was really proud of that. And I created a TikTok. You know, like, I'm not doing the whole, I'm not dancing or doing the whole
You're dancing with your hat.
I can't do it yet. But yeah, I haven't worked up the courage to do that yet. But yes, I am on TikTok as well. So you guys can find me on those 3 platforms. And you can write me anytime. If you have questions, I encourage you, if you're going to start a business, reach out to and ask other business owners questions. Don't be afraid to get in their DMs and say, hey, how did you do that? Or what website are you using? Or that's really cool how you did. What kind of hats are you using? A lot of people want to keep that stuff like close to them.
They do.
I don't. I'm like, I use a Charlie One Horse. I'll tell you where I got it. I'll tell you how to get it. I will tell you where to get a pyrography pin if it's something that you want to do. You know, I'm open. I'll share the wealth with all. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And if anyone's watching this after the fact, you have a question, make sure you put it in the comments. We will definitely, I'll get it answered if I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. This was so much fun. You're my first guest.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. You know, I get excited and I start to kind of veer off track. But thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this. I hope we help some people. I hope we speak blessings on people and they are anointed with amazing, wonderful success in their businesses and in their lives. And just keep on pushing, but make sure you start. So
make sure you start.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks, Erica. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon. We're going to talk some more, girl.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Have a good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.